Okay, so here's a thought to kick us off. What if the most significant part of losing weight isn't really the weight itself?
Right. Not the number on the scale, but something.
Yeah.
Something else happening underneath.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. These often really surprising psychological, emotional shifts that can happen, especially when those, physical cravings start to quiet down.
Mm-hmm. We're definitely looking beyond just the usual talk about diet plans and exercise routines here.
Yeah, going deeper.
That's right. And for this deep dive, we've got some really interesting sources. There are these field notes from the quiet window and also some personal reflections called What Dan Hollis Taught Me, which really gets into dealing with weight loss setbacks.
Okay.
So our mission, really, for you listening, is to unpack this idea. The idea that when that external noise, the cravings, kind of goes quiet, something else pops up, a different hunger.
A hunger for what, though?
Well, for self-discovery, maybe.
Yeah.
For understanding what's really going on inside.
Okay, I like that. And central to all this is the work of Dan Hollis. You mentioned him. He helps people navigate this less talked about inner journey.
Precisely. He's key to this whole conversation.
So let's start with an example from the sources. Let's talk about Kate. She's 46, mother of 3, 2 dogs, has an unfinished book. Sound familiar?
Yeah, relatable.
And she was 2 months into using semaglutide. Physically, things were going, exactly as expected.
Right. The source says 7 pounds down, side effects were minimal, blood sugar looked better.
Check, check, check. All the usual signs of progress.
But then something unexpected happened. Something that hit her harder than the weight loss.
Okay.
She told Dan Hollis about walking past her pantry one morning, and she said for the first time in like 20 years, nothing reached back.
Wow. Nothing reached back.
Yeah, that absence, the lack of that familiar pull, that craving,
Yeah.
that was the big thing for her. More profound than the 7 pounds.
I can almost feel that sudden quiet where there used to be noise.
Exactly. And Dan, he actually has a name for this. He calls it the quiet window.
A quiet window. Okay.
He says, that's the moment where the food stops answering your questions and the real ones start talking.
Oof. That hits hard. The food stops answering and the real questions start. So it's like the buffer is gone.
Kind of. Yeah, the thing that was maybe masking other stuff isn't working in the same way, or it's just not there.
Which leads to something else the sources highlight, this surprising, almost hidden grief.
Yes, the grief of losing the thing that numbed you, even if that thing wasn't, good for you long term.
Right. It served a purpose.
It did. Kate, she didn't actually miss the food itself. The source is clear on that. What she missed was the signal, the rhythm.
The pattern.
Yeah, and the self-story that said, at least I know how to feel full. It's less about the physical sensation and more about what it represented, maybe. That sense of control, or at least predictability.
So when that signal, that rhythm, that story, when it vanished, what was left? How did she feel?
Well, later that night, she apparently told her husband she felt weird.
Weird how?
Like the house was too quiet. She described her brain as feeling like a library after hours.
Whoa, a library after hours, that's evocative.
Isn't it? And she said, it's not that I'm sad. It's just that everything feels like truth now.
Truth, just stark reality without the usual filter or buffer. That sounds intense.
Extremely intense. And that right there, that's where Dan Hollis says his real work actually starts.
Not with the diet plan or the weigh-in?
No, not primarily. His focus shifts when the human sitting across from him begins to hear the echoes of all the years they used food to muffle the deeper questions.
Hearing the echoes. So it's about finally listening to what was underneath all along.
Exactly. Which kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What echoes might we all have that are being muffled by whatever our own habits are?
Yeah, absolutely. And the sources actually list some of those deeper questions that tend to surface in this quiet window.
They're big ones.
It's like, what am I hungry for when I'm not hungry? That's a powerful one.
It really is.
Yeah.
Or who am I without the chase? Without constantly pursuing or managing that craving.
And what's left when the noise goes? Just what is actually there?
These aren't small questions, are they? They're fundamental things maybe we avoid.
Definitely avoid. And suddenly, in that quiet, they're just there, waiting.
And that's where Dan's approach comes in. It's not about just, cheering you on or giving you rules. He talks about providing scaffolding.
Scaffolding, like support structure.
Yeah, exactly. He says not motivation, but momentum. It's about getting things moving gently, not forcing enthusiasm.
Okay. And not restriction, but recognition.
Right. Recognizing what's actually happening inside you rather than just trying to clamp down on behaviors.
Yeah.
He has this great line. He believes things like semaglutide, they don't solve emotional hunger.
They don't fix the underlying issue.
No, he says it just clears the runway so you can finally see what's trying to land.
Clears the one way. I like that metaphor. It creates the space, but you still have to deal with what arrives.
Precisely. It gives you the chance, maybe the first real chance, to see it clearly.
And for Kate, this wasn't like a lightning bolt moment, was it? The change was more subtle.
Very subtle. Small shifts, but significant ones. Like one Wednesday she felt sad, but she didn't automatically reach for snacks.
Okay, that's a win.
A quiet win, yeah. And another day, a Thursday, she opted for tea instead of opening a second bottle of wine.
Another conscious choice in that quiet space.
Exactly. And then there was a walk she took on a Sunday. And the key thing was, she wasn't doing it for calories. She said it felt like a conversation with her future self.
Wow. That's a completely different motivation for moving your body.
Isn't it? So she's not suddenly fixed or perfect. The source emphasizes she's not done.
Mm.
But she's there. She's present.
In the quiet. Listening.
And that, the source suggests, is the real protocol. Not just the medication or the diet, but this inner listening and adjusting.
Which is a much longer, maybe lifelong journey.
Absolutely. And it's almost never just a smooth, straight path upwards. Which brings us nicely to the next part, dealing with setbacks.
Yes, the inevitable bumps in the road. Because it's never linear, is it?
Rarely ever. And Dan Hollis has a really interesting take on setbacks, too, based on our second source.
Okay, what's his perspective?
He says something quite striking. Most people don't relapse into hunger. They relapse into confusion.
Into confusion, not just craving.
Yeah, like they don't know how to handle the quiet or the new feelings, or maybe a moment where an old pattern pops up.
Yeah.
It throws them off.
That makes sense. It's disorienting.
Totally. And he insists these moments, these setbacks, they're predictable. They're not something to be ashamed of.
Right. Not a moral failing.
No, just a signal that you're human. You're navigating something new and complex. It doesn't mean you're lazy or that it's all falling apart.
That's a much kinder way to look at it.
It is. And he uses this great analogy. He reframes the whole journey, not as that straight line up, but as a spiral staircase.
A spiral staircase.
Uh.
How does that work?
Well, you know how on a spiral staircase, sometimes you feel like you're seeing the same view again, like you're going in circles.
Yeah, you pass the same window, maybe a bit higher up.
Exactly. But you are still climbing. You're gaining height, even if the perspective feels familiar for a moment. You're revisiting themes, but hopefully from a slightly different, maybe more aware place.
Okay, I really like that. It allows for those moments that feel like steps back, but frames them as part of the overall ascent.
And it ties into his point about pacing. He says, fast results don't mean lasting results. Pacing is protection.
Rushing it doesn't help in the long run. Slow and steady.
Pretty much. It allows for integration for your mind and identity to catch up with the physical changes.
Which brings us to plateaus, right? Those times when the scale just stops moving. That can feel like hitting a wall.
It really can. But again, Dan reframes it. He says a plateau isn't a defect. It's not you failing.
What is it then?
He describes it as your body catching up or your metabolism asking for grace.
Asking for grace. That's a gentle way to think about it. Like your body needs a moment to adjust to the new normal.
Exactly. It's acknowledging the body's complexity, its need to find equilibrium. It's not just a machine we can force.
Okay. And what about when those old cravings do come back? Because sometimes they flare up, right? Even in the quiet window.
Oh, absolutely. And Dan's take is crucial here. He says it's not weakness. It's not that you failed or the quiet is gone forever.
So what is it?
He called it memory. Just plain old neural pathways lighting up.
Like muscle memory, but for craving.
Sort of, yeah. It's the brain asking, hey, does this path still matter? Are we still doing this?
And that's the opportunity.
That's the opportunity to notice it, and maybe this time because you're in that quieter space, to answer differently, to make a different choice, reinforcing a new pathway.
Not automatically react, but pause and choose.
Yes, and this really connects to a huge insight from the sources. Your body changes fast, your identity takes time to catch up.
Oh, that's key. The physical change can outpace the mental and emotional shift.
Absolutely. You might look different, feel different physically, but the old self-image, the old stories, they can lag behind.
So when a setback happens, it doesn't mean the medication isn't working anymore or that you've somehow gone back to square one.
Not according to Dan. It means, and I quote, the story you were telling yourself still needs updating.
The internal narrative hasn't caught up with the external reality yet.
Exactly. The tools, like semaglutide, they create the space, they quiet that physical noise.
Hmm.
But Dan's work, his scaffolding, teaches you how to use that space effectively.
How to rewrite the story.
By reframing those tough moments. Instead of seeing a setback as a judgment, I failed, see it as a series of questions,
Questions like,
like the ones you mentioned earlier almost.
mm,
Okay, what am I actually feeling right now? What do I truly need in this moment?
mhm.
That may be the biggest one. Who do I want to become through this process?
Shifting from self-criticism to self-inquiry.
Precisely. It's moving from focusing just on restriction and control, outwards in, to cultivating curiosity and self-awareness, inwards out. Learning about yourself rather than just losing pounds.
That feels much more sustainable and, frankly, more meaningful.
I think so too.
So let's try and bring this all together. What we've seen from these sources is that this journey, especially when marked by something like diminishing cravings, it's often a profound path of self-discovery, isn't it?
Absolutely. It starts, really starts, when that external noise quiets down. It turns out it's about so much more than just the physical weight.
Yeah, the weight loss is almost like the side effect in a way.
Or maybe the catalyst, the thing that opens the door to the deeper work.
Right. So if you listening find yourself in this place, this quiet window, and maybe it feels a bit strange or unsettling or even empty,
Remember what the sources suggest. You're not broken. It's not a sign something's wrong.
it might actually be a sign that you're just beginning to hear yourself again, maybe properly for the first time in a long while.
Mm-hmm. A scary but potentially incredible opportunity.
So if that's you, welcome to the quiet window. You're definitely not alone in finding it a bit weird.
Not at all. It's a common, if not often discussed experience.
Yeah, and maybe a final thought to leave you with, something to mull over.
Yeah.
How might the quiet moments in our own lives, whether they come from a specific situation like this or just, a shift in circumstances, life changes,
Hmm?
how might those quiet moments be inviting us to ask those deeper questions?
Questions about what we're really hungry for beyond the physical.
Exactly. And what stories about ourselves, those narratives we carry around, might need a little updating so we can actually thrive.